Chapter 32. 2 days later, a new kid was assigned to Group D. His name was Brian, but X-Ray called him Twitch because he was always fidgeting. Twitch was assigned Zero's bed and Zero's crate. Vaciances don't last long at Camp Green Lake. Twitch had been arrested for stealing a car. He claimed he could break into a car, disconnect the alarm, the hot wire, and the engine, all in less than a minute. I never planned to, steal one, he told them. But sometimes, I'll be walking past a real nice car parked in the desert area and, I'll just start twitching. If you think I twitch now, you could see me then. I'm around the car. The next thing I know, I'm behind the wheel. Stanley lay on his scratchy seat. It occurred to him that his cot no longer smelled bad. He wondered if the smell had gone away, or if she had just gotten used to it. "Hey, caveman," said Twitch. "Do you really have to get up at 4:30? You get used to it," Stanley told him. "It's the coldest part of the day." He tried not to think about Zero. It was too late. Either he'd made it to Big Thumb or... What worried him the most, however, wasn't that it was too late. What worried him the most was what really ate at his inside. He was the fear that it wasn't too late. What if Zero was still alive, desperately crawling across the desert, searching for water? He tried to force the imagine out of his mind. The next morning, out on the lake, Stanley listened at Mr. Sir told Switch the requirements for his hole, as wide and as deep as your shovel. Twitch fidgeted, his fingers drummed against the wooden shaft of his shovel, and his neck moved from side to side. "You won't be twitching so much after digging all day," Mr. Sir told him. "You won't have the strength to wiggle. Wiggle your pinky." He popped some sunflower seeds in his mouth, deftly chewing them, and spat out the shells. "This isn't a Girl Scout camp." The water truck came shortly after sunrise. Stanley got in line behind Magnet, ahead of Twitch. What if it's not too late? He watched Mr. Sir fill X-Ray's canteen. The imagine of Zero crawling across the hot, dry dirt remained in his head. But what could he do about it, even if Zero was somehow alive after more than 4 days? How would Stanley even find him? It would take days. He'd need a car or pickup truck or a pickup truck with a tank of water in the back. Stanley wondered if Mr. Sir had left the keys in the ignitions. He slowly backed away from the line, the circle over the side of the truck. He looked through the window. The keys were there, dangling in the ignition. Stanley felt his fingers start to twitch. He took a deep breath to steady himself and tried to think clearly. He had never driven before, but how hard could it be? "This is really crazy," he told himself. Whatever he did, he knew he'd have to do it quickly before Mr. Sir noticed. "It's too late," he told himself. "Zero couldn't have survived." But what if it wasn't too late? He took another deep breath. "Think about this," he told himself. But there wasn't time to think. He flung open the door to the truck and climbed quickly inside. "Hey!" shouted Mr. Sir. He turned the key and stepped on the gas pedal, and the engine varved. The truck didn't move. He pressed the pedal on the floor. The engine roared, but the truck wasn't motionless. Mr. Sir came running around the side of the truck. The door was still open. Put it in gear," shouted Twitch. The gear shift was on the floor next to the seat. Stanley pulled the lever back until the arrow pointed to the letter D for drive. The truck luttered towards Stanley, jerked back against the seat, and tightly gripped the wheel on the truck. A curlated. His foot was pressed on the floor. The truck went faster and faster across the dry lake bed. It bounced over a pile of dirt. Suddenly, Stanley was slammed forward, then instantly backward as an airbag exploded in his face. He fell out of the open door and onto the ground. He had driven straightly into the hole. He lay on the dirt, staring at the truck, which stuck lopsided into the ground. He sighed. He couldn't blame his no good, dirty, rotten, pig stealing great grandfather this time. This time it was his own fault. 100%. He had probably just done the stupidest thing he had ever done in his short and miserable life. He managed to get to his feet. He was sore, but didn't think he had broken any bones. He glanced back at Mr. Sir, who remained where he was. Staring at Stanley, he ran. His canteen was strapped around his neck. It banged against the chest as he ran, and every time it hit against him, it reminded him that it was empty, empty, empty.